Hi guys, I'm here to show you our take-home kit for our clay bird tutorial. So this is my cute little bird that we're gonna make together. I'm gonna walk you through the steps and you should have everything you need inside your box. All right, let's get started. All right, I'm gonna move you down here so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so inside your box, you should have all the tools that you need. You should have some tissue paper, you should have some clay, you should have some feathers. Inside your tissue paper container, there should be 2 little googly eyes. You should have a pipe cleaner, you should have a paintbrush, and you should have some glue. You will need to grab scissors from home to help with cutting maybe some smaller pieces of your tissue paper, and also your pipe cleaner. So before I get started, I am just gonna trim up some of these bigger pieces of tissue paper because you don't need super big ones. And you can kind of sort them in colors how you think you're gonna want them. But I'm just kind of taking my pieces and I'm trimming them up so they'll just be a little bit easier for me to grab when I'm ready for that part. Okay, I think that should be good. So now take your clay. Should be a big ball. We're gonna take it and we're gonna tear off a piece for the body. So I would say, about the size of a golf ball maybe, and we're gonna start to roll it into a ball. So use those hands, roll it into a ball. It should be nice, feel soft like Play-Doh. Kind of looks like a marshmallow, but we don't need it. And then we're gonna take that circle once we have it and just kind of make it a little bit longer, maybe more into an oval-y kind of body shape. Now every bird is gonna look a little different, so don't worry if it doesn't look exactly like mine. Okay, this is gonna be your bird's body. Now we need to give it a head. So we're gonna take a piece of that other clay that you have left, and we are gonna make another small ball. And maybe you think, oh, that's gonna be a really big head, but you can always take clay off or just go with it and see how it looks. So I'm gonna again roll this out just a little bit into that oval-y shape. I like to kind of pound it a little bit to get a flat edge. So I'm not pounding too hard. I'm just gently kind of tapping it so that it becomes flat on the bottom. And then that way it's gonna be a lot easier for me to attach. So then I'm gonna just kind of attach it up to where I think my head might be. Perfect. Now you still should have some clay left over. If you don't, just kind of tear some off and rework your body a little bit. But we need to give it a tail and a beak. So for our tail, we're gonna roll a smaller piece. And again, you're gonna start to make like a triangle shape with it. I'm gonna tap the bottom because that's gonna be nice and flat. And then once I have that, I'm just gonna kind of pull it. So it kind of creates this like kind of triangle-y shape, but it's nice and flat on this end so that I can attach it. So I just kind of stick it on. So I have a nice little tail. Okay, now we need to give it a beak. So you should have still clay left, and you might have some extra clay left over too, so you could do something fun if you have anything left over. But you need a smaller piece. This should be the smallest piece that you've had so far. Again, we're gonna pull it out to try to make that kind of beak-looking triangle-y shape. Again, I like to make it flat, so I pound it a little bit. So every beak's gonna look a little different, kind of that triangular shape. Now we're gonna put it kind of in the middle of his head, or her head, because we're gonna leave room for her eyes and his eyes in just a second. Okay, so now we have the parts of our body on our bird. Now this clay is gonna get harder and harder each day. And once we add the color with the tissue paper and glue, it's gonna help harden it up a little bit too, okay? So it's still gonna be a little squishy, so you have to be a little careful while you're working here, but shouldn't mess up your form too much, okay? So lay your bird down. Now we need our glue, our brush, and our tissue paper. So I think it's easiest to do your body first and then go back and do your tail and your beak. So your body can be whatever colors you want. I kind of did blues and purples, but you could make it all different colors. You could make it warm colors, cool colors, however you want. So I'm just gonna start putting some glue on my head. And then I'm gonna start to take those pieces and I'm just gonna kind of stick them on there. Now, your fingers are gonna get a little sticky here. So keep that in mind when you're grabbing that tissue paper. It's okay, you'll have plenty of time to wash your hands if you need to, and you can always pause this video, but it's okay. And you might see that it starts to change the color of your clay a little bit because this tissue paper, once it gets wet, it kind of loses its color onto whatever you're putting it on, okay? So I'm doing kind of greens and blues, purples. I'm kind of flattening out just a little bit. And then I'm just grabbing those pieces as I go, covering it up. And if you see some white spots, okay. You can have a little white showing through, no worries. And then I'm kind of putting glue on top. So it's kind of like a glue sandwich. Glue, paper, glue. And again, if your hands get really sticky in this part, you can have a wet paper towel handy to kind of wipe them off, or a baby wipe, or just go wash your hands and come back. But don't worry, it'll all come off your hands. I know it can be a little awkward to work with when it's sticky, but that's the only way we can get that color on. So again, if a little bit of white shows, no big deal. Okay, now this part's gonna take a little bit of time, so don't rush it. We're just adding that glue and those colors. This is why I said it was really important to kind of tear those pieces ahead of time, so when your fingers do get really sticky, you're not worried about grabbing big pieces. Okay. So I'm starting to cover. Okay, I'm not gonna continue to do my whole bird right now because I know you guys are gonna get a little bored watching me do it. So at home, you continue to color your whole bird's body with color. Once you finish the body, so pretend my body is done, we're gonna go to her tail or his tail. And maybe I choose a different color theme than I did on my body. So maybe this one I'm gonna do reds. So I'm gonna take it, ooh, this is a nice big piece, it'll cover nicely. But I wanna get some pink in there. You can do the bottom of your bird too, no problem. And if you wanna let things dry, you can always come back and then do the bottom part when you have more time too, if you're in a hurry. Okay, so I've added my tail color now. Now I'm gonna move to the beak. Okay, so I'm gonna paint my beak with some glue. And beaks are usually the yellows and the golds, so you should have plenty of those colors in your pile. And I'm just gonna cover my beak. And if it overlaps a little bit with the body, no big deal. Okay, and if my beak started to go down a little bit, I might have to lift it up a little bit, because sometimes when we start playing around our the body of our bird might get a little different shape, so we just kind of, it's still able to move and flex. Okay, so again, it's not completely covered, but you're getting the idea. Okay, so once everything is covered the way you like it, just kind of have it sit here for a second. We'll give it just a couple minutes to dry. So if you want to let it dry completely, no problem. Go do something else, come back to it in a few minutes. While we're waiting though, I'm going to show you how to make the nest and get his legs ready. So you should have a bag that has the bottom cut out of it. I'm just going to undo this one real quick. So it should be a nice flat bag that has the bottom open, cut out. So if you open it up, you should be able to see through it. Hello. Just like that, so it's open, okay? Now, you're gonna kind of take it with your hands and just kind of roll it. Roll it. And this part's a little tricky, but there's no right or wrong to it. We're just trying to make a bird's nest. Okay, so we're just trying to get that shape. So however you wanna do it. I think the rolling part is easiest, but if you find another way, no worry. This is gonna be our bird's nest to sit in. So once you kind of have that shape, you're just gonna sit that over to the side. We'll come back to that. This is just something fun to have it sit in. You don't even need this part if you don't want your bird to sit, okay? So we're gonna let that go. Now you should have a pipe cleaner, and these are gonna be his legs. See his little leggies? All right, so you're gonna want this one pipe cleaner to make all of your legs. So I would cut 2 bigger pieces, maybe like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So I cut one, and then maybe I hold it up here and I use it to measure. So I have 2 that are a little bit bigger. Now, if you wanna draw or make some claws, you're gonna cut a little bit smaller pieces out of the remaining pipe cleaner you have left. So I'm just doing little tiny pieces, not too tiny though, because we still have to wrap it around it. Okay, so I'm gonna take my big piece, I'm gonna take one of my small pieces, and I'm just gonna kind of twist it around the bottom of one end. So my leg is straight, I'm just taking those little pipe cleaner pieces, wrapping it around to kind of make those claw pieces. And again, no right or wrong here. We're just kind of making the claw or feet type shape. Okay. And once you kind of have the shape that you want, make sure that they're on there really well. Maybe he only has 2 claws, maybe he has 3, but you're just gonna create those little claw pieces, okay? And then he should have 2 little legs that will attach in a little bit. Okay, so he's not completely dry, but maybe dry enough that you're ready to keep working. So you can, at this point, add some feathers. So maybe you put a feather on top, maybe you put 2 feathers, up to you. And you might, it's a little hard to poke the hole in, so if you're having a hard time, maybe use the end of your pipe cleaner. It's a little bit sturdier to make that first hole if the feather's not working. But then you're just gonna punch it in, okay? So it will stay. And maybe if you use your scissors, you can poke your hole with your scissors too if that feather isn't working. But I'm gonna add some feathers on the other side. I think I'm gonna do these kind of greeny orange. You can make 2 different colors. You could put 4 feathers, totally up to you. Again, try to stick it in with a feather if that's not working, like that one went in nice and easy, but just find something to poke it in with if the end of the feather isn't as sharp as you need it to be. Okay, we've added our feathers. Now we're gonna put our eyes on. You should have some extra glue. I'm gonna take my googly eye. Keep dropping it. You can either put the glue on the back of the eye and stick it on, or you can attach the glue directly on, whichever is easiest for you. Okay, he's starting to look like a cute little bird. Okay, now I've attached my eyes. Look how cute he is. Okay, now for the legs. So you should have made 2 little legs, however you want them to be. And again, if you don't want your bird to have legs, you don't have to use the pipe cleaner, totally up to you. And again, you're just gonna kind of poke it in through your clay. Now you can poke it, you can bend these to whatever shape you want, and you're just gonna let it sit in there. So now he has his 2 legs, he is done, and you can let him dry completely, and then you can put him in his cute little nest. Since this one's not dry, I'm gonna stick my dry one in there. And there he is, cute in his nest. So have fun with these guys. Remember, this clay will get harder and harder each day. So a couple days after you make it, it's gonna get super hard. In about a week, it'll be really hard. And then it will last you forever. So have fun with these. These are super fun, super cute. I love clay, and I hope you guys are having fun with it too. Share your pictures with me. I love to see all your creations from our take-home kits. Have a good one, guys.